Hit the record button.
It's on.
Oh. Hey YouTubers, we're going to review the Mora Clipper 840 MG today. Picked these up off of Amazon. Bought a couple of them for myself, my wife. A couple of friends gave them as Christmas presents. It's really a pretty darn fine knife. As you can tell, I've got a little bit of a patina on there. We used a little mustard on it, tried to get it to corrode naturally and instead of in a bad way. I drilled the handle. It's a 3/4 tang knife, and I drilled a hole through the handle and put the lanyard on it. And the handle is actually solid plastic, so that worked out pretty slick. These are absolutely wonderful knives. They're lightweight. It's got that rubberized grip on it. You get a good grip even when it's wet out there. It's overall, this is an excellent backup knife to a bushcrafting one knife scenario. This is not a one knife type knife just because it's not a full tang knife. And then when I first got them, they were rounded on the spine back here, so I took that to a grinder and tried to make it so that it was a nice 90-degree edge so that you could strike a ferro rod with that, which we've got connected to the sheath here. And what I did was took a 1.5 to 1.75 inner tube, bicycle inner tube, and just slid it right over the top. And it's kind of nice with the lanyard on it. You can wrap it around. I find that pushing on either end raises it enough to where you can get that in there. And then your ferrocerium rod is just right here and available for you. On this one here, tends to work pretty good. Like anything else, you got to get the coating off of your ferrocerium rod, but boy, she will throw a spark. Nice thing about this is 1095 carbon steel on here. So it's, you know, it's good and it's hard and it will strike that ferrocerium rod on this. Again, first thing you're going to have to do is get this protective coating off of it so that you can get down to the material itself. And once you've done that, obviously she'll throw a pretty darn good spark. If you get your angle set up right here. So with a nice bird's nest set up, a char cloth, you could use a Vaseline soaked cotton ball. Either way, you now have the ability with this to do some really decent bushcrafting type activities. It's got just a hard plastic sheath on it. I wasn't all that impressed with that initially, but the more I've used it, the more I've carried it with, you know, it really tends to work pretty good. Clips onto the belt nicely. You can see where it's got a couple of ridges in there. Snaps right over a nice 1-inch belt, 1 1/4 inch belt with no problem at all. The ferrocerium rods I got from the Dave Canterbury's Pathfinder School website. I think it's Pathfinder School LLC. If you order 4 or 5 or more of these, you get a 10% discount. So I ordered probably 5 or 10 of these, kept them for both my wife and I, and then also we gave them to some friends when we gave these knives to them as well. Right out of the chocks, this knife comes extremely sharp. You know, so you can really process some good wood with this. It's a nice thing to have around the campsite. You know, you don't really want to use this little knife to hog off a bunch of wood, so a little bit finer angle up against the wood. You can really do some nice carving with this, some good fine work with it. You know, if you wanted to, you could come down here, you could make a nice fire stick with it. Just peel that stuff up nice and thin, get a lot of surface area out there. This is a very versatile knife for around the campsite. You know, is it your one knife option for survival or bushcrafting? No, not really. I'm a fan of the Dave Canterbury websites, you know, and he likes a 3/16 inch thick blade on it, the high carbon steel, full tang, and at least a 6-inch blade. This is right at 4 inches long, but again, it comes out of the package super sharp. You know, for doing this type of work, some fine crafting on that, you know, I mean, even the end of this knife is extremely sharp. You know, most of the time you're going to do the bulk of your work through this section of the knife blade itself. But again, you want to make a nice little fire stick out there. This thing is light, it's easy on the touch. and extremely sharp. In fact, I have not sharpened this since I've gotten this knife, and I've had this for probably a couple of months now. My friend and I are out camping. It's the 25th or 26th of January 2014. It's about 20 degrees outside right now. It's kind of chilly actually, but this is really a very nice second knife type option. Again, it's the Mora Clipper MG, or I'm sorry, 840 MG, and it is just an absolutely wonderful knife. It's lightweight, it's balanced good, it feels good in your hand. You can see here how finite you can get with that. You know, I can take all of that off of there if I wanted to sharpen this thing down to a nice point to drive a stake or set a trap or anything along those lines. This knife will definitely do the trick. It's a backup knife. My primary knife that I've just recently acquired, and I'll do a video after I've used it for a little bit, is the old hickory 7-inch butcher knife. And so that video will be coming out here in a while. I don't know, I want to use it a little bit before I do a full review on it. But boy, I got to tell you what, this little blade here, extremely nice. Very good finite work. You know, if you wanted to, you could put your thumb on the back, you could dig things out with it. And as you can see, it's digging in, it's taking off a nice chunk of wood. It is very nice, it's very sharp. And overall, this is an excellent knife to have. I got, like I said, I got several of these. My wife and I both carry these in our cars, in our, basically our get home bags. And so far, like I said, I've had it about 2 months now. I'm extremely pleased with the overall performance, the weight, the feel of this knife. I mean, this thing's only a few ounces. It's just amazing. And when I first got it, I was a little concerned with that weight and how much and whether or not, you know, how much it weighed and whether or not it would, you know, take some abuse. But a couple of months later, and you know, this is, I think, our 3rd or 4th trip out camping with this thing. I'm extremely impressed. Again, the one modification I would make is I would grind down this spine, get a good 90-degree edge on it so that you can strike your ferrocerium rods with it. It is overall just an absolutely wonderful knife. It's a common man knife, if you will. On Amazon they're $13, $14, and for that kind of money you just can't beat having one of these in your backpacks. Well guys, I really appreciate you watching my video. Please subscribe, put a comment out there. Do appreciate any feedback that's out there. And basically, have yourselves a great day. Thanks.